Hey everybody, it is me, Vincent, coming to you from home once again. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another Vincent Vision Watch Out. And today I wanted to do another Epic Universe video. This is that season for video creators, okay? We're gonna be circling around Epic Universe for a very long time now, so just get ready for that. I'm sorry if you're not interested in the brand new theme park that's opening up, but I am. And this is being recorded in the midst of friends and family previews at Universal. Previously, we had team member previews that were going on. Now, they're getting to bring their friends and family, so we're getting a lot more impressions and thoughts on the park. And with that, we're learning a lot more about this place and really kind of what people are prioritizing when they visit Epic Universe. I thought it would be fun to try to do a video kind of mixing the things I've learned about Epic Universe through other people's reviews and experiences and kind of my knowledge of Universal and theme park getting around. I wanted to come up with what I think are the 7 must-do experiences at Epic Universe. And this is gonna be a little bit of everything. It's gonna be riding rides, maybe places to stay if you're going there, and maybe like one ride that you should absolutely do when you're there. Let's get this video properly started with number 7 on my list of things to do at Epic Universe, and that is to get a power-up band or a Harry Potter wand. Now, something I'm gonna probably repeat a lot in this video is the fact that Epic Universe is gonna kind of challenge how a lot of people spend a full day at a park. I think Epic Universe has the potential to be a full day park, but if you are a ride-oriented person who just focuses on the rides and doesn't do anything else, your day will probably be dramatically slower, especially if you're someone who only really wants to focus on the big rides, right? Understandably so. Epic Universe as a whole theme park is gonna have a lot of experiences that are not just rides. And a big part of that in 2 of the lands are the power-up bands from Super Nintendo World and the new wands from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The wands we kind of know about already. They have been in the already existing Harry Potter lands for a couple years now, but recently Universal actually upgraded their wands to what they call the 2nd generation wands. There are 4 wands now that are incredibly interactive. They actually connect to the Universal Orlando app, and you're able to do spells and track points. It's like a big mini game. I actually have one of these wands for myself here, and I got it on the first day that it came out, and I have been using this when I go to the parks, and I've been having a blast. And I was never a wand person. I never really cared about the experience, you know what I mean? But being able to have your own personal profile and have these games and challenges that you can play that lead to new spells that you can only use with the brand new wands is very, very impressive. And I'll say too that they've actually updated the spells in the existing Harry Potter lands, and it's actually really great to see. So one can only assume that the quality and the experience of spells that you're gonna have in the brand new Harry Potter land will be just the same, if not better. Spell casting is a pretty big part of the Harry Potter experience. So if you are trying to get the most of your time in this brand new Harry Potter land, the wands are a big part of it. And I can personally vouch for the brand new wands, the 2nd generation, and I can say it is very fun to have. I didn't mention that they also have like haptic feedback. So when you do a spell, like it lights up here and you're actually able to know whether you've done the spell correctly, which I always thought was super annoying previously, where I couldn't know if I was doing the spell right. And I think parents are gonna love this because the kids are gonna know that they get the spell right, and then you're gonna be able to move on to the next thing. The other half of number 7 is the power-up bands. These guys right over here. Let me see, focus in on that please, focus in. Woohoo, there you go. This is Ellison's power-up band. I had one for Mario, but it got damaged, so I was using hers as a demonstration. But these little power-up bands actually are a very, very big part of the Super Nintendo World experience. Now, Super Nintendo World's gonna have a lot to do on its own, but believe it or not, there are actually certain things in that land that you cannot do unless you have a power-up band. Hey, that was cool. This, like the brand new wands, connects to the Universal app. There are games and challenges linked on the app that make you explore, participate in the many games that are in Super Nintendo World. And when you play enough games in Super Nintendo World, you get access to Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown, which is like almost like a mini game that you can only access if you have the power-up band. So that's gonna be a big part part of the Super Nintendo World experience, especially for kids, especially for Nintendo fans. You know, like they have all these games around the Super Nintendo World, and you are gonna kind of have to get in line to play them. So it's not just like these little things, they are part of the experience, and a lot of people recognize that. You should definitely try to get one of these because it's gonna make your time at Epic Universe a little more fuller. Now, number 6 is one that may not work out for you and your budget, but I definitely think if you are going to Epic Universe this year, you should definitely look into either trying to stay at a Universal hotel or staying at the big one, Helios Grand. Helios is the newest hotel at Universal. It is going to be what they call a prime signature hotel. And then obviously the big benefit of staying at Helios is that you have direct access to Epic Universe. You have your own dedicated entrance and exit, and you're in the park. Now, I will say the one thing that Helios does not have is Express Pass, even though it is considered a prime signature hotel. What you will get instead by staying at the Helios is early park admission. In fact, everybody staying at a Universal hotel gets early park admission. Epic Universe is going to do EPA, and currently the rides that are available for early access are going to be the rides in Super Nintendo World, Mario Kart, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, and Stardust Racers, the big roller coaster in the park. There are some pretty big priority rides there that people are gonna wanna see as early as possible, specifically Donkey Kong. I just know it's a very slow loading attraction based off everything we've seen from the one in Japan and people's reviews during family previews here in Orlando. You should definitely try to get on Donkey Kong as soon as possible, and early park admission is going to allow you to do that. It's not something that's necessarily exclusive to Helios. All of the different Universal hotels do that. The nice thing is now though, there are I think 11 or 12 Universal hotels at this point, and they're all different tiers and options. So they have ones that are super affordable, like Endless Summer, some middle tier ones like Sapphire Falls, and the kind of recently opened Stella Nova and soon to be opened Terra Luna Resort, which are also right by Epic Universe. In fact, they are walking distance from Epic Universe. And then of course, there's kind of the bigger, nicer ones like the Hard Rock and the Royal Pacific and so on and so forth. So you really do have a lot of options as to where you want to stay if you're doing a Universal trip. And I think having early park admission access, especially for the brand new park, is going to be very, very important. So you should definitely think about staying at a Universal hotel, or if you can do it big, stay at the Helios. I also think that Epic Universe is a park that's probably gonna stay open pretty late for a very long time. You know, even if it ends up being like till 10 o'clock or something like that, you're gonna be able to walk out of the hotel into the park really, really early, then like go back to your room at 1 o'clock, take a nap and a shower, and then come back to the park at 5 o'clock, and you're like still connected to the park. Like you don't have to get on a bus or anything like that. You just like walk out of the lobby. And to me, that is pretty cool. I am personally very, very excited for the idea of staying at Helios. I think it's gonna be great. There'll be a video soon. I'll let you know how it goes. Now, number 5 has something to do with maximizing your time in the park as well. And this is actually kind of opposite of something that I usually recommend for the other parks. At Epic Universe, I would actually recommend eating at a quick service restaurant instead of a full service restaurant. The reason is because truthfully, most people going to Epic Universe are only gonna be there for one day. All of the tickets that Universal has been selling have all been some variation of like a single day at Epic Universe, whether it be a multi-day ticket or just the one-day tickets that they're selling, which is crazy to me that like Universal is like selling tickets like that, but whatever. So if you're only gonna be at the park for a day, even if it's a full day, I think everything that we've seen with the food offerings at Epic Universe seems to tell me that the quick service restaurants in this park are pretty fantastic. And there's a lot of them. And all of the pictures of the foods and the menus that we've seen, everything looks really elevated and kind of nicer than your typical theme park chicken fingers and burgers that you would expect. If you have done like the Minion Cafe at Universal Studios or the Circus McGurkus at Islands of Adventure, these are kind of newer restaurants that have had revamped menus, and all the food is pretty fantastic. And these are places that I would regularly recommend to people. So I'm expecting Epic Universe to kind of have that everywhere. There are 2 sit-down restaurants that sound pretty promising at Epic Universe. There's the Atlantic restaurant, which is going to be steak and seafood, and then there's Blue Dragon, which is going to be an Asian restaurant, or Pan-Asian restaurant, I should say. If you're only there for one day and you kind of want to maximize your time in the park, maybe doing a kind of full-service sit-down lunch or dinner might not be the best use of your time. I think if I really wanted to eat at one of those 2 restaurants, I would save it for dinner, and I would get kind of like a late reservation, so I will have seen everything I needed to see before I sit down for food and then leave the park. There's no city walk here at Epic Universe. I can't wait till we find out sort of which ones are the best ones, so to speak, right? I'm sure they're all gonna be great, but there's some that I'm sure that are gonna be really, really big hit with people. Now we're starting to jump into the attractions. Kind of like what I said with the power-up bands and the wands. Epic Universe is gonna be a park that's gonna be a full day experience, but you should definitely look into kind of changing how you visit a park. And Epic Universe actually has 2 big shows that are included with the park experience that I think you should try to see at least one of them while you're there. The Isle of Berk has the Untrainable Dragon. This show has already existed somewhere else, so we've seen videos of it, and it looks spectacular. Toothless flies over the audience and the music plays. Like, I would probably say that's the main reason to see this show. It looks like it's done in this big grand theater. Universal doesn't really have a lot of shows like this, so I think this is going to be a main attraction at the park. I think when all the rides are broken down or it's raining in the summer, you're gonna need something to do, and that is one of the 2 big shows at Epic Universe. The other one is Cirque Arcanu, which is the Harry Potter show. We have a Harry Potter show at Epic Universe. Kind of a big deal in my opinion. You know, for the longest time, Harry Potter has only ever really had small street shows in the lands. Now, there is this proper theater experience where people are gonna sit down and hopefully be blown away by really amazing effects. People have been watching the show during the previews and have said some very positive things about it. You're gonna spend more time at Epic Universe because you're dedicating time to see these shows. So I absolutely think you should sit down and see a show at Epic Universe. It is part of the brand new theme park experience. Something else that's part of the brand new park experience, and really any Universal park experience, is roller coasters. And if you are going to Epic Universe and you don't normally do it, you need to take on a coaster. Epic Universe is a pretty balanced park. There are rides of all different degrees and thrills, and there are actually a lot more roller coasters than you would think. Counting off the top of my head, there are 1, 2, 3, technically 5 roller coasters at Epic Universe with the 2 Stardust Racers. What I think is great about 3 of the roller coasters at Epic Universe is that they actually have a very accessible height requirement of 40 inches. So a lot of smaller kids are able to get on some of these big rides. But if you're someone who maybe typically doesn't do roller coasters and you want to kind of dip your toe into it, there's Hiccup Swing Gliders, which to me looks like a slightly more exciting version of Slinky Dog Dash over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Even Donkey Kong looks like it's tons of fun and it doesn't look super taxing. I think this park is going to be really great for first-time roller coaster riders. And even for those of you who are looking to take the next big step and get onto like a big roller coaster, Stardust Racers is there for you. That is the park's big thrill. It goes super fast. There's tons of big hills. And, you know, it's actually kind of nice. It only really goes upside down one time. I think people are going to have a good chance to talk people on to rides that they wouldn't normally do at Epic Universe because the roller coaster experience is pretty balanced. So when you go to Epic Universe, try out a roller coaster. You've got tons to pick from. Something else you should try to do at Epic Universe, and I really, it's crazy to me how this has really jumped up on my list of things to see, Toothless. Okay, we gotta talk about Toothless. This is the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, and it seems like this guy has taken over the park. There is a meet and greet experience with Toothless in the How to Train Your Dragon land, and it looks incredible. This does not appear to be any sort of puppet or anything like that. This looks like Toothless is real and he is right in front of you. And you're even gonna be able to hug him and pet him. And this looks like the coolest meet and greet that Universal has ever created. It is seriously very impressive. And I like the How to Train Your Dragon movies, so I'm pretty excited to meet Toothless. But I'm also very happy that it turned out to be so much cooler than I expected it to be. Epic Universe seems to have a lot of character entertainment, which again is part of the experience of a brand new park, right? It's not just the rides. Entertainment, I think almost more than ever, has a much bigger hand at your experience in Epic Universe. We know the monsters are gonna be roaming around Dark Universe. You got Mario and Luigi and Peach and Toad and, I mean, freaking Donkey Kong the giant gorilla. The meet and greet in Universal Japan looks crazy, and he's gonna be here in the park too. Even if you don't want to wait super long to see these characters, you should at least try to see them, right? Even if it's just like from a distance. Entertainment is universal. Ding! And lastly, my number one thing that you need to do at Epic Universe is go on a ride. There's one ride in particular that everyone who's been to Epic Universe has been singing its praises. And you probably know which one it is already. I am referring to, of course, the e-ticket attraction in Dark Universe, Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. Everything that people have been saying about this ride, everything that we've seen about this ride, we have gotten real pictures taken in the land from Universal, and Frankenstein Manor looks incredible. And listen, I'm a ride guy, okay? I'm a theme park guy. It's not my first rodeo. I've been around the block. I can feel when a ride is gonna be an amazing experience. And I think that Monsters Unchained is gonna really kick some butt, okay? I have gotten to speak to people who have done the ride and they've experienced it, and people I trust, whose opinions I don't take lightly. It's amazing, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, you know? Something that I've heard about the ride as well, which is very nice. Even though it is a simulator in the same style as Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, there's no motion sickness. Ding, 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 woohoo! There are no screens like the Harry Potter ride that are gonna get you sick. I promise you, that is what gets you sick on the Harry Potter ride, okay? It is not going through the physical sets, it is the screens that get you sick. And based off what we know about Monsters Unchained, there aren't really any screens that are used in that same way. This is a primarily physical experience, primarily animatronic involved experience. And I think this has the potential to be the big deal ride at Epic Universe, or at least right up there with one other ride that has earned my honorable mention spot because, well, no one's been on it. Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry earns the honorable mention spot by technicality, okay? I think we all know that this Harry Potter ride is going to be a very big deal and it's going to be very, very good, but no one's been on it yet. So I can't tell you if it's actually really good or not. I can't tell you if it's better than Monsters Unchained. We've seen pictures of the Ministry that Universal has provided, and it looks pretty freaking incredible. Harry Potter rides being good at Universal, it's a pretty easy bet. So you don't really have to like worry about that too much. But since no one's been on it yet, and that may change, can't really tell you how important it is to your Epic Universe visit. But I mean, come on, you're gonna have to do the big Harry Potter ride. But apart from that, that is really all I've got. That is my 7 must-dos at Epic Universe. And hopefully this video makes sense. You know, it's kind of still hard to speak from the outside perspective and really have not gotten to truly experience the park yet. I look forward to making videos in the park when that time comes. But for now, I will see you guys at the next one. And hopefully that next one will be us inside Epic Universe. I love doing videos here at home, but like, I'm ready to like film inside Epic Universe, all right? I want to do some videos in the park. Let me in, Universal, let me in. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.